Hello, Colas. Welcome back to Viva Barca and welcome to the home of everything Barcelona, where we are going to be discussing on the latest as usual. To start this episode, we are going to be discussing on the secret behind Barcelona's reduced injuries this season. Of course, we know this season we have hardly heard about injury problems for Barca like last season. And even though it's just 1 month that we started the season, but it seems as though this season, players will be well managed when it comes to their fitness as compared to the previous seasons. We are going to be discussing on the secret behind this. Then secondly, talking about Barcelona's new Puyol, Ronald Araujo, as it has been reported that Araujo rejected a lucrative contract offer from England to stay at the club. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, as we get right into it in more detail, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. A recent report from Road Villa on Card Radio has offered an in-depth update on Barcelona's training facility and the shift in the club's coaching methods since the start of the season. The Spanish journalist has shed light on the revolution that has taken place in relation to how Barcelona managed the players on and off the pitch. Especially from a physical aspect, there has been a major shift which has led to very few injuries so far this season. The journalist suggests that Barcelona have designated, 3 people with the major role of preventing injury. The list includes Dr. Ricard, physical trainer Evan Torres, and physiotherapist Carlos Noguera. In the past, Barcelona had a total of 4 physical therapists, but the club now has up to 7 physical therapists who are working round the clock to track the players' progress and physique levels. Under the current regime, Barcelona players spend the entire day at the club, right? They are expected to arrive at 9 a.m., that is in the morning, an hour before training. They are expected to have breakfast, prepare, train, and gym inside the facility. But any exercise, the Barca players are asked to do a refresher session with a physical trainer. This is done in order to identify any physical stress points before the training starts. In the case of any discomfort, the concerned player is immediately sent to Dr. Ricard, who in turn informs manager Xavi to withdraw the player from training. So, on normal days, players can leave at around 4 p.m., but during match day, players generally remain inside the facility and have dinner together. All of this has played a key role in bringing a sense of routine and discipline inside the Camp Nou. Barcelona, ultimately, it has led to fewer injuries, with Barca suffering only 2 knocks since the start of the season, Ferran Torres and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, both of which took place outside the pitch. With important matches coming up in the month of October, the Barcelona board is intent on preventing the number of injuries as much as possible, knowing retaining the team's strength could be a crucial thing if they are to maintain the pressure on Real Madrid at the top. Definitely, it's quite important to have most of these players fit for the season if we want to really compete. We might have that squad depth, yes, which is good, but keeping players fit is very, very important, and really enable the team to compete for titles. It's really good to see the way Xavi have make things very, very serious. Let me put it that way. Players come to training very early. Things are taken now very seriously, unlike the time of Koeman or in the past. Barcelona are doing things so seriously. The players don't joke. There are fines if you come late to training. There are many things that everybody must be disciplined. And all these in turn make the team to be so competitive, to be serious. People compete and people take things seriously. And, talking about players' fitness is very important. This season we have not heard anything about injury when it comes to on-pitch action, which is so important. But the month of October, we have 9 games in just 4 weeks, which will be the most busy month for Barca. So, of course, many teams always have injury problems when they are a packed schedule like that. So Barcelona are trying to ensure that during that next month, Barca will try their best possible to ensure that we don't have injuries. trying to keep the players fit. Dr. Ricard Prona, who have always been seen as one of the best doctors that Barca have ever had. Xavi came back when Xavi came to Barca as new coach, tried to pressure the ball to try to bring back Dr. Ricard Prona, because the injuries of Barca last season was horrible. And Xavi saw it that he would not cope with the doctors that they were there. Laporta even went ahead to sack some of the doctors, some of the medical officers, then recruiting better ones. Better physicians came, and of course, which was so important. And we can see how fitness levels have improved. Even we can look at the example of Ansu Fati. The way Ansu Fati have been managed is quite incredible. Even though Ansu Fati has no injury now, but it has just been the advice of Dr. Ricard Prona for Xavi to be using Ansu Fati very cautiously. And I think in the long run, Ansu Fati will start playing games, 90 minutes. So let's see how it's going to look like. Then on to the next story of discussion. There is no questioning the fact that Ronald Araujo is one of the best young centre-backs in world football. So far this season, the Uruguayan international, of course, has started every game, barring one match in the Champions League, which indicates how much of a mainstay he is for Barcelona. With the player being such a crucial figure at Barca, a brand new revelation emphasizes that the feelings are mutual. As per a report by Sport, Araujo signed a contract extension till 2026 earlier this year, rejecting more lucrative offers in place from Premier League clubs to price him away from Spotify Camp Nou. Prime factors behind the highly rated defender's loyalty to the club are because of his love for Barca as well as his desire to succeed with the side, with Xavi's men believed to trust Ronald Araujo and consider him as one of the pillars behind the project. The aforementioned news was unsurprisingly put a collective smile on Colours' faces. In the summer, it was heavily reported that former Barca boss Pep Guardiola was a keen admirer of the Uruguayan international, so much so that the Manchester City boss was pictured having dinner with the player's agent Edmundo Capche. Considering Guardiola's status as arguably the finest coach in the world and City being one of the most successful and well-run clubs in football, it would not have been a shock to see Araujo interested to switch to England. However, the fact that Ronald Araujo did not keep his eyes and ears out of such potential move and instead committed his long-term future to Xavi's side is a testament to how much he believes the club's rebuild. At the same time, the club and Barca supporters too have immense faith in Ronald Araujo, so much so that he is being seen as the new Carles Puyol because of his love and commitment for the club, his aggressive defending and his leadership. It was very much visible during the recent game against Elche when a packed Camp Nou sang his name and cheered him on. Having signed a new deal, Araujo will continue to enjoy the adulation of the colours for a long time. So guys, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.